Hello, everybody. Welcome to Five Star Fridays. We got the whole crew in here today, but we wanted to take a moment at the beginning of the show and we just wanted to pay our respects to our dear friend LaShawn that passed away this week. I know it has been, an incredible blow on everybody in the indie comics community. And, I thought it would be nice if we took a second to talk about her and the impact that she had on us and like why we cared about her so much. One of the things that really stands out to me is the number of people from like really close friends that she talked to all the time to some of us that, just recently have become closer friends with her to people that had never actually, met her or spoken to her much. She had such a huge impact on everybody in the indie comics world. And she was such an encourager. She was such an uplifter. She was the type of person that we should all aspire to be in the indie comics community, uplifting people, pointing out the awesome things that they're doing, helping them hone the rough edges off of their projects and polish it and make it better. And she was just such an encourager. She was, a creator of her own series. She was an uplifter of other people. She opened her own comic book store right before COVID, which was an amazing feat. Um, and she was so well loved in her community. I mean, when we
Mhm.
were at Alabama, like she was legit probably the biggest star at the whole show because there wasn't anybody that didn't come through that show that didn't want to stop and take a picture with her. Like we hardly got to spend any time with her at the show because she was so busy with everybody that wanted to come up and take pictures because they'd met her at her shop or they had met her at other events. And like she was great. She was great. We were talking earlier, when I was creating um Green Zone, I was it wasn't until I got to the point in the script where I realized, oh crap, they need training officers for these other people. I had one created that was integral to the story, but now I needed other characters that I created Claire Waters just like on the page, drew her on the page for the first time, hadn't really planned her out. And I was looking for somebody to pattern her after, and this was right when LaShawn was opening her store, and she was all over Facebook. All the interviews that she was doing, all the advertisements and stuff she was doing were everywhere. And so she was in my mind, and I was like, I'm going to pattern her after LaShawn. And suddenly, Waters went from being just a nobody character to being this beautiful, vibrant, kind of aggressive character that won't take any crap and isn't going to let anybody stop her from achieving her goals, and suddenly became this much more complex, interesting character that I dearly love now and is as a much higher role, much bigger role in the story going forward than just somebody to be a training officer. And that's all thanks to her. So I will eternally be grateful for that inspiration. Brian, you have anything you'd like to say?
I think for me, LaShawn, I'm like, for me, new to all of this. What I've seen from is how she affects people. I never personally met LaShawn, but her presence is everywhere. It's like a force of nature, like a enthusiastic individual, a very fun, exuberant, warm individual. I didn't even know her. And that's the thing. Like I can feel from everyone who's spoken about her, knew from 6 degrees of separation. When I watched those damn from Alabama with Mike and everybody in her crib, her was just
Oh man.
intoxicating
And
to the
that's the
point where
thing.
it was insane. Like
And
I
she
was
was
like,
so welcoming. You meet her
yeah,
and okay, yeah, we're family now. You're welcome into my home. I'm gonna love on you like you're my family. And that was amazing.
yeah. And that's the thing. Like I personally didn't know her, but I knew that she was a force of nature with everything that she's accomplished with her beautiful soldier series, the things that she's done, being picked up by comics, being an indie creator, and being such a lead in that world, in that space. It's a heavy loss across the board. But I know would be for me if I personally didn't know, I know she would pick your ass up and move on and keep going. And of course in that. So
Mhm.
it's just she was a force. That's all I can really say about her. She was something that was so positive and such where lights have gone out, she would be your light to go to.
Absolutely. Fee, anything you'd like to say?
I mean, I would agree everything that Ryan said, and even you, like, it's just I never had a chance to meet her, and at the same time, I felt her so strongly through her works and just the presence of the videos. You felt like you were right there, and again, she was just amazing in everything that she did, and I can say that even though I didn't get to meet her, she was such a beacon to me, and when it came to being an example, just like, this is what you do. This is how you set the bar. This is how you run after whatever it is that you want to get after. And I
Mhm.
admired that so much. And I just, it's been a crazy week, but I can say that when it comes to inspiration, when it comes to thrive, like just drive and when I think about days when I'm low, I just wanna do I think of her because it's just like, what would she do? Would she push through? And she would, take names and she would crush her goals, and I just really thank her for being that example and being someone I can say that, like, is someone I can look to, especially in my weaker days. So,
Mhm.
definitely
Yeah,
praying for the family.
she was so involved in the community that even like if you weren't like close personal friends with her, like you knew her personality, you knew her encouragement and her inspiration, and from other creators to fans, like me and J Man talked a long time about our conversations with her and stuff. Just she was great and always happy to spend time. You know, talking and helping and whatnot. Like I just had to hit her up a few days ago for a stupid question. Like I had asked you at the con too about hair because like I based waters on her and you know, in the third book, they're in this emergency situation, things have been blowing up, and I was like, how long would it be before you fixed your hair? Like, I mean, would you like not worry about it, and just make sure that everything's taken care of? Or would you be trying to fix it along the way? Because like it's not something I have to worry about. But I guarantee you, like if my beard was sticking up in my face, I would get it out of the way. And so I hit her up and asked her about it and, told her that and she laughed and thought it was hilarious and was like, "Yeah, I absolutely would be fixing my hair along the way. I'm not gonna look all crazy out there." But, she had time to answer a silly question like that for me and I'm grateful. Tony, you have any thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, LaShawn definitely was somebody. I mean, so we work. And I want to start with saying the indie community is a tribe. You know what I
Mhm,
mean? Like, there's people who work in different circles. There's people who are connected through people that know people, and we're just this tribe of people who, like, we might not, you know, be the best of friends, or we might not work directly together, but we kind of all know what everyone's doing, right? We
mhm,
see it. We shared a lot of the same circles. Me and her never really got to connect on the levels like as other people have. Um, I will say I looked through Messenger, and she did reach out to me when I dropped FiveStar One the first time and told me that she loved it. And we as far as short fuse goes, we both signed on the first day. We both got our starter jerseys. They had this big old thing, and I can remember seeing they were announcing three, and they had us in like order of kind of like who was the biggest, and I was second on the list, and I was thinking like, well, damn, I wonder who's number one, and I seen it was LaShawn, and I was like, oh shit, like if I'm second to LaShawn, like I'm cool with that. That's cool. You know what I mean? So no, I think everything you guys have said is true. To have that presence in the community, just somebody who, um, my timeline's been full with it for the last, you know what I mean, the whole week. It's been it hurts. Someone like that, it hurts the indie tribe in general. The tribe is hurting. But like Ryan said, she would get to it, right?
Yeah.
It's time to get to it. I encourage the ladies in our group who were, they were really the first day just really took him back and they were upset and they were sharing stories and the best thing I can say is just, remember her through your works. Keep grinding. Grind at a level that you know that she was grinding at. Pursue your passions the way she pursued her passions, and through your work and your passions, just show that essence of what she embodied. And I think that's the important thing for everybody to to walk away with, because that's what she would have wanted. She wanted to see everybody, strive, everybody do their thing. She was a warm heart, so that's what we're gonna keep doing that. I'm glad we was able to share some words for LaShawn. The comments were beautiful. Appreciate it. Fish had to remind me to share them because that used to be his role. But we're gonna get to it. We're gonna get to it like she would have got to it, right?
Mm-hmm.
We're gonna carry on. Today, we're talking about a huge, huge landmark in the comic book world. My co-host even said, "Yo, bro, are you talking about the whole? We're not talking about pieces. We're gonna do the whole." I said, "We're gonna do the whole thing. The X-Men in all its glory. The X-Men in all its glory. It might end up being a two-parter, and that's okay. We'll see. But the X-Men, super iconic. I would say, and I'm gonna ask you guys this question: are the X-Men the greatest team in comics? Would you say for you, or just in general, that they are the greatest team in comics?
Is that even a question?
It's a question I just asked, my friend.
He's got me thinking about it now, though.
Oh,
I think certain teams of the X-Men are iconic and are far superior. Certain teams are forgettable. Like, there have been certain lineups that, don't have the same impact. But, yeah, I mean, they're up there.
as my sis would say with Moana, as the most iconic Iron Studios X-Men collaboration statue
Ryan was
of
telling
all
me about
time.
Oh,
I witnessed
man.
them with 2 eyes.
Ryan was
Yes,
telling me
they
about
are
it.
the
I
best
heard it was
team
epic. I want to see it.
best team of all time. I'm exiting.
Okay.
Have a good night. Take care.
That's it. Mic drop.
And that's
Ryan's
all.
out.
Mary had a lamb, boo.
I gotta agree. Did everybody say yes? Did everybody say
Yes.
Pretty
I said
much.
Okay. I know you did. See, I couldn't remember what Fish said. If he was, he was going back and forth. I mean,
like the Justice League would be more iconic than certain runs of forgettable X-Men, but like when you put like the first class together or the new class when Wolverine and Nightcrawlers, I mean,
yeah,
they're awesome.
Okay. I'm agreeing then with the three of you. Yes, I would say as a team, they are the most iconic team in comics. I'm putting them over the Fantastic Four. I'm putting them over the Justice League. I'm putting them over the Avengers. The X-Men are top tier when it comes to team in comics. Now let me ask you the next question, and this one's a hard one because there's so many good ones. Who's your favorite X-Men and why are they your favorite? I don't want just mine's this, and you can't tell me why. I need to know, and you guys in the comments, I need to know too. Who is Brad is disagreeing? That's Brad.
Thank you. Thank
Brad
you,
gonna
Juana.
be difficult.
Brad, you're gonna be difficult tonight.
Brad said Javon might be here tonight, but I'm taking his spot tonight. I'm going to be difficult.
Juana said Storm right off the rip. She didn't even give time to nobody to speak. Her fingers
She don't
were
need to.
lightning
She got
fast.
a statue this big, bro.
Lightning fast. She said,
Thank you. Thank you. She said,
Y'all all need to go first on your favorite X-Men because mine's going to be a whole tale.
All right, here we go. I'm gonna go. I'll go because no, hold on, because my boy Javon said it. I'm gonna follow up. Cyclops is my favorite, hands down. Why is Cyclops your favorite, Tony? Why? Well, the reason is Cyclops. He's a good leader. He's a strong leader, right? He might have got overlooked when Wovey with the claws came in. Everybody's like, "Oh my God, Wolverine!" Nah, son. He held down the team. He is the leader of the team. I don't care if there's a little yellow angry man with claws. Cyclops is the leader of the X-Men, and he will do what needs to be done to keep that team going and for the mutants. Cyclops has been put in way more crazier situations. Moana, Storm is good too, but this is I'm sorry.
no.
I'm sorry.
Come on, man.
But these comments are coming in so fast. I keep clicking on one, and I'm like, I try to click on the one, but the other one comes in so quick that
there's a skill set to it.
there
I
is.
was doing it.
Dang.
Fee, give it to me. Who is it?
I'm gonna go Cyclops.
It's Storm. I'm backing up with my girl Moana. It's Storm.
Javon said
She
it.
needs no introduction. I mean, again, as soon as we said who was your favorite, she popped up. I mean,
Yeah.
again, she's the OG. She's held it down. I mean, look, Cyclops is mad. I mean, yeah.
Cyclops. Storm is not more OG
I'm just
than
saying.
Cyclops.
Cyclops
I'm
has
just
had
saying.
some bad runs. Like he's,
You know,
like,
I mean,
He has
definitely
had a bad
bad
run.
dude
in
at
her
times.
field, holding it down. I mean, again, as a cosplayer, I mean, she's the OG. I mean, she's just
You said OG,
she's a beast.
but Cyclops is more of an OG than Storm.
Oh
I
yeah,
mean,
he goes back further, but man,
He goes back further.
she still
he
came in.
don't
with
look
talking
as
about
good in his
OG, then.
outfit
That's all I
though.
gotta say.
I'm
That's all I
saying.
gotta say.
I
pass it on. I pass it on.
talking about OG status, okay? Cyclops goes back further. That's what I'm saying.
You
Adam,
finished?
what up?
Are we done?
What
We
you
good,
got,
we good.
Ryan? Because mine's
Ryan,
a
I'm curious to hear Ryan's
tail.
answer.
Let's hear it.
All y'all bitches right now, because y'all got some bitches. Yes, I love Storm. Storm is beautiful. Storm is elegant.
Storm is beautiful. I'm not arguing the fact that Storm is not beautiful.
Thank you, Moana.
Yeah,
Thank you.
she's a natural.
She's in my top
leader,
3.
queen
Go on, I'm
of
sorry.
all kings. She
I'm sorry.
has been the opus. She has been the opus of temptation.
Thank you, Brad.
Cyclops is a OG. He is the number one. He is the first X-Men. He is the OG of all OGs. But y'all niggas get me twisted right now. Because my boy has not been mentioned right now. And y'all need to both exit the building, Fee and FiveStar. Maybe Fish. It's
maybe
Magneto.
Okay,
Magneto
I mean, I wasn't really. I wasn't putting
okay. Eric Lynch, he was the Magnus of all opus of Magnus. He is the OG villains, reformed anti-hero.
I'm not arguing at all.
Don't take bullshit from no one, okay? And he will smack dab all you mofos before anybody else. Okay?
Now, when you talk about leaders, Magneto is up there. And you talk about making the hard choices. Magneto will wipe out a whole species to protect his own.
He's up there.
You know, when I
love Magneto.
When I was at Moana, she had the opus of all Magneto. Okay, Magneto. I'm exiting. Goodbye.
Oh.
Javon, what was that? Magneto literally kneeled to Cyclops?
Now you can't help what one writer's going to do in a book, but I mean,
no. Hey,
at the same time, like all the mutants came down to saying they were going to back Cyclops. So
hold on real quick.
Go ahead.
I will say that if you was to ask me who my favorite villain was, it would have been Magneto. So I can't be mad at you for saying Magneto is your favorite X-Men because he is up there on the list.
And he is.
So is Storm. Respectfully, they both should be up there. He is an X-Men. Fish, what you got?
Okay. Now, way back in the day, in the year of our Lord, 1970 something, there was a little fishy, And that little
Little
fishy
fish.
was playing in the playground and climbing in the trees and digging in the sandbox and finding the
Mhm.
cat turds and flicking them out. And
Stop it.
this little fishy went to bed every night and he
Yep.
prayed for something different because, he had been explained clearly that God was a more omnipotent version of Santa Claus, and whatever you ask for, you will receive. So I went to bed every night praying for something.
I'm loving
I
this.
went to
I'm
bed
loving this.
praying that I would wake up a chimpanzee because I wanted to have the monkey feet and I wanted to be able to grab things with my feet and hang upside down.
Mm.
I woke up. I would go to bed praying that I would wake up with a tail because I wanted a prehensile tail so I could grab things and.
Okay.
I went to bed at night praying that I would wake up blue so many damn times. You do not know how many times I edited this down. I wanted to wake up blue with monkey feet and a tail. Oh my God, when I found Nightcrawler, I freaked the fuck out. That is it. I love all the X-Men. I love Colossus. I love all of them. I love Wolverine. I love all of them. But frickin' Nightcrawler, dude, he's my jam, man. He's everything I ever wanted to be. He's frickin' half pirate, half priest. Like, I mean, he's dude, and swashbuckling with the tail. So come on. All right,
Okay.
maybe you can move the magnetic forces of the earth, but man, when he got that sword and that tail, he is a badass. So, yeah, Nightcrawler's my boy.
Okay. Hey, I'm going to go ahead and say all strong picks. Strong
picks.
Very strong. That's the thing. That's why when you're saying teams, right, and you're talking about just dope teams, how can you go wrong with a good X-Men team? There's just so many dope characters. We lost Fee. That's okay. She'll come back in.
She took that personally. She was out.
She took that hard.
She left early. She's
in now. She took it.
I came back. I just did a new Nightcrawler. I came right back. There you go.
Oh,
BAMF!
Hey. So you can't go wrong when you're talking about a team that has so many dynamic characters. Gambit, Rogue, exactly. All honorable mentions. Beast, honorable mention.
And unlike some of the other teams, like, they are legit a family too. Like, you get all the family dynamics going on between these people, and love triangles, and bitter that daddy likes you better, and you get more attention, and all that kind of stuff that makes them so interesting.
The thing with men that set aside from everything else is their critical thinking. They're oppressed.
Yeah.
They're diverse. They're different. There's never been anything from when you think about comics from the 60s, those are the golden age of comics. Those are you were different. You weren't allowed to be seen. With X-Men, you were seen if you were different. That's what sets this. That's why they're so powerful in such an impactful way. Not to even mention that every X-Men individual personality, their own individualism, and they were completely unregard from anything else. Oh, wait a minute. Who killed? Who got killed?
What do you mean? What are you talking about?
I just had to see. I'm gonna warn people right now. This nigga's tired. I just cut off what I just said. That's ignored, and I'm done. I'm tired.
As you can see, Ryan's
old. I had a
time to go night-night
right there. I'm old. Jesus.
Time to go night-night.
Okay. We're gonna move forward from that. He might sleep in there. That's okay.
What was his name? Who got killed? On the
Thunderbird.
X-Men.
Oh, okay. I thought, bro, I didn't know if you seen something flash across your screen. It's like we're talking about a real person.
I thought somebody else died.
I'm like, bro,
He
what are
needs to
you
have a
talking
redemption.
about?
He needs to have a redemption. That's all I can
Oh,
say.
Okay, all right. Next question. Has any other mainstream comic book hit on social injustice and social issues like the X-Men has?
Not a major one, and not to the same extent. I mean, like, Green Lantern, Green Arrow did their, oh, your sidekick's on drugs and stuff, but like X-Men really got down into it and got into how ugly we will treat each other and how hateful we will be towards each other when
Mm-hmm.
we look at the other side as a soulless monster. And as long as the other side's a soulless monster, no matter what side it is, there's no way to ever come to the middle on that. And the beautiful thing that I love about the X-Men is because they are this fantasy imaginary kind of different, anybody that feels different can identify with that. It doesn't matter if you're white or black or Latino, or if you're new to a country, or if you're born with a neurological disorder that, makes you different than everybody else.
Yeah.
If, you're gay or trans or whatever, like anything that makes you feel different and ostracized from the rest of the world and the rest of the people around you
Mm.
makes you feel like you can fit in the X-Men. That makes it feel like a welcoming place. And all these people are welcomed in, even though like you might be a giant metal Russian who is, a stout communist, but we can still be friends and we can still live together and work together and agree on all kinds of other things, even if we don't agree on like how the country might should be run. So,
Yeah. That's
that's what I
Uncle
love
Fish.
about them.
Papa Fish. Everybody crazy Uncle Fish. Everybody crazy Uncle Fish. Ryan, Fee, anything to add to that?
For me, they
Or did
always dealt with like geopolitical. It was a very, very, very political. That's what was so good about X-Men.
mm,
Like, like even the movies always had some sort of geopolitical concept in their movies. It's a waste of time. Thank you, Brian Singer. But like for me, you know, X-Men is a defeat of change. I was always saw X-Men for the first time. My dad brought me home X-Men for the first time, and like it was a book that changed my life because
mm,
I saw part of me in these characters, and it really got kicked over the edge when I started collecting everything that had to deal with
mhm.
X-Men, you
yeah.
know. So X-Men was part of my childhood, a part of my life, you know.
Yeah.
It's the book that changed everything for me. And I used
Mm.
to do like I predicted Halle Berry was going to play Storm back in like 19 pitches. So just let you know.
I believe it. I
Woo!
believe it. You are the originator, so I do believe that. Fee, anything to add?
I mean, whew, he had to put the year on that. I was like, I'm not even gonna put what was going on in that
Yeah,
year.
I don't know.
But
We weren't even
What'd you
there
say,
yet.
95?
Yeah, 95.
Mm. I think I was 5 years old watching the
5 years old,
the
yes.
animated series.
Yeah.
Go ahead,
I was
Fee.
I was just coming into the world, so it's okay. It's all good. I can say in the same regard that X-Men has a very special place in my heart because again, that was the first thing that my dad like sat me down and when he looked at comics and the stories, X-Men was it. And so like learning about everything about everyone, how they came
I feel you,
together and
Joel.
like the messaging, just like kind of the overall story of just like these are different people, but they've come together with this notion, which I thought was really cool. I yeah. Hello. So I can definitely say, even with that, even with the cool story, when me and my dad met Stanley when I was like 8 years old, he told me, he said, I'm so glad I was able to have a character that you could look up to. And I can say that's something I will always remember and I will never forget because it was just
Mm.
so cool and it's such a it meant so much to me. So I was just like, I mean, X-Men always has a special place in my heart because it has so many things and it's so full of depth and texture. So I do love that.
I
For
do have
sure.
to admit, in the spirit of true transparency, Littlefish hated the X-Men. I could not stand them when I
Ooh.
was young because I saw them for exactly what Stan Lee started them out as just a cop out to not have to make up how they got their superpowers, and that as a little tiny comic enthusiast, that pissed me off because like the coming up with how you got your powers was the most awesome aspect to me of these characters. You got bit by a radioactive spider. Who the hell would have thought of that? A gamma bomb goes off and turns you into a green monster. It's freaking amazing. You're the last child from an abandoned planet that exploded. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Like all of these crazy ways that they got their powers was my favorite thing about superheroes. And I was collecting all this knowledge as a kid so I could figure out how to get bitten by a radioactive gamma spider from another planet so I could, turn into some. I'd probably die. But anyway, I was trying to figure this out. Like I wanted to figure out how to be a superhero. And now it's just like, yeah, it's just born that way. Well, shit, I can't just be born that way. I was already born. It's too late. You should have told me beforehand. It just made me furious. But as I was creeping into my teenage years, my mom, she knew I loved comics. She didn't get it. She didn't know which ones. So she went and bought me a stack of comics. And there was like this obscured nothing issue of X-Men that's Havoc and Rogue stuck in like, some alternate something with a Sentinel that has a virus inside of him that's making him sentient. And they're dealing with this Sentinel. And something about that just struck me as interesting, and it was so different than everything else that I was reading. It wasn't the same old standard comic book fare, so I had to give it another try, and I had to check out some more issues. And next thing I know, young preteen Fishy got hooked on it because now I understand what it feels like to be an outsider. I understand what it's like to have everybody in the new school picking on you because you're some freaky giant that's bigger than everybody. And now all of a sudden they became something that I could identify with, feeling like I was born different than everybody else. Little Fishy didn't get it. Preteen Fishy did get it. So it brought me around.
That
Yeah.
Summer's family tree is rich, girl. The Summer's family.
Oh yeah. Havoc's another one for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, for me, X-Men animated series is what brought me in. And this little gem right here, I'm about to show you. I had this. Bro, it came out in '92. I was 2 years old, Brian. What do you want from me, bro? I can't help it. Look.
Oh my gosh! Yeah.
Pride, the X-Men. I had this on.
Bring my X-Men. Old one right there.
It was like 5 episodes on a VHS.
Yeah. Your favorite book?
Oh man, that goes way further back.
Yes.
Yeah, give me
that. That goes all the way back to
look.
That goes all the way back to Spider-Man and his Amazing Friends and the Incredible Hulk hour, because they were going to launch the X-Men then. There was a crossover episode with Spidey and Friends and the X-Men, and that's where I fell in love with the Australian Wolverine, because he was Australian for some reason in that cartoon.
I don't know how. I don't know how, and I don't know where this VHS came into our house. All I can tell you is that me and my little brother rewinded that tape so many times and watched those 4 episodes of that show, of that tape, that we eventually ruined that tape.
Oh yeah. I rented that thing from the local store so many freaking times. I think I was the only person that ever did. But dude, I loved it.
Yeah. So that was like my
little baby,
like my first
Kitty Pride.
Yep. So my next question, if we're talking about comic books here.
Comic books.
Who's your go-to artist when it comes to drawing the X-Men?
This is my game changer for everybody. The game changer for everybody who can think of the game changer is Jim Lee's X-Men. Everybody loves the X-Men characters. But for me, this is hard. Because, I mean, there's runs that I like. Even Generation X was a game changer. The artist, Jesus. Yeah, Andy Cooper. Yeah. Fish, I'll take the lead and then I'll go next. I got to think.
Man,
Because there's so many.
like
Yeah.
the old school stuff I absolutely love. I absolutely love those old books.
Actually,
And
yeah, it probably Claremont because this run
Yeah.
is strong with me. Like,
oh yeah.
that's a deep part of heart, and for me is Claremont for sure.
Yeah. Claremont and like back in those days, that's the thing about the X-Men. Like back then when they were a nothing book that nobody was paying attention to, they got to run wild with that book and do all these amazing things that they couldn't do in Spider-Man because everybody was paying attention to Spider-Man and, everybody was paying attention to Fantastic Four. Nobody was paying attention to this book that was hardly selling for years and years and got canceled and then rebooted. And, you know, so they got to make the X-Men so awesome because nobody was paying attention. And then once it became this global powerhouse and the highest seller and everybody loves it, then they move in the Jim Lees and stuff and the hotshot artists and it blew up even more, but it lost a lot of the soul.
I can tell you mine. Right.
Let's get it.
You ready? You want to know my favorite run?
Well, no, I don't want to know your favorite run because I want to hear.
Okay, my favorite artist who drew the X-Men. Okay.
Yes.
Frank Quigley. I'm leaving. Frankie Frank. New X-Men. Grant Morrison run. Done.
All right. Fee.
I usually base mine because, again, since young in the comics, I would say, I don't know. I was like, I enjoyed Frank Bruner's work, but again, I'm kind of new in that part of the field when it comes to artists. His pencilship is pretty impressive, just seeing from the work I saw of Pan. So I'm gonna go with him by default, but again, at the same time, it's not really as a full depth for that.
Okay. I'm going Jim Lee. I don't care if it's a basic of the basic. If I'm a basic B right now, I don't care.
Oh,
because
Ryan.
those costumes are iconic, and I have every single one of those action figures on my shelf, and it is a beautiful shelf. I go downstairs, I look at that shelf, I love that shelf, and that was my wife who yelled "nerd" from the background over there. So that's what I'm going with. Ryan, you can come back. I don't understand why.
Jim Lee, is it done yet?
I don't understand. I don't understand why you're in your feelings for it. We can all agree. You just started off by saying how it was a turning point, and now you're trying to disrespect.
He had such an energy to his stuff. It was so cool looking. It popped off the page.
I don't understand the disrespect right now.
The stories didn't have the same kind of depth that they did with like John Burns. So he's my favorite because of the age I was at the time. But I think the stories and stuff back in the day with John Byrne drawing were much better.
I mean,
Jim Lee did Mutant Genesis. Are you serious? That's an iconic.
I'm not saying it's not. I'm just saying once he got involved, it became more about Flash and less about substance.
Just kidding.
But they were also selling millions of books and, variant covers and hologram covers and all kinds of crazy stuff. So,
Okay.
But I mean, for me, Frank's work on New X-Men is my favorite. Art style is incredibly different from every iteration of X-Men. I mean, he changed Beast. Beast looked more cat-like, more organic. Everybody looked organic.
Here we go. Here's something that's gonna get it. Here's something for you, Ryan. I actually hate when they make Beast look more like a cat. So there you go. I hate it. Leave. Turn your camera off.
I don't like it. Now, when they turned Wolverine feral and he lost his nose, that's ridiculous. I
Hey.
hate that. But
Me?
I don't like the Cat Beast, but
I like
I can
Shane.
dig it. It's something other than
I like
ape or werewolf, which everything else seems to be. So,
I like
Well, I like when they changed it back.
Frank's work. Bring up Frank's work. New X-Men.
All right, hold on. I got you.
Mm-mm.
Okay, so as I'm looking this up,
That's Jimmy's work. Well, Jimmy work.
I
right
said
there.
as I'm looking this up, sir, I want to ask the next question, sir. X-Men stories, comic runs. What's your favorite X-Men story? Why is it your favorite? People in the comments, let's hear you too. Let's get it. Javon don't like Cat Beast either, Ryan. So there you go.
Javon.
we all know Javon's always right.
Javon needs to leave the.
Hey, Ryan,
If the Dark Phoenix saga, y'all need building too.
Hey, Ryan. You didn't say Jim Lee, so I forgot. Who did you say you wanted me to look up again? I'm sorry. What was it?
Frank Quiltley. Quiltley. I don't know how you say his last name. It's always Frankie to me.
Okay, sir. You want to talk about your
EQ.
You want to think
All right,
about
Ryan. So what's your favorite story run?
Story? No, I'll go last. I'll go last.
For me, and it's purely because of when it hit in my life, the whole Genosha storyline in the 90s that went across all the books, that was my favorite. Like encouraging everybody to come here and we're gonna love you, and then turning you into mindless slaves and teenagers for some reason with Storm. That them in those so 90s skin tight suits with the patches all over them and the oh my god, I loved that so hard at the time, and it could not be more 90s, but I love that storyline. And what's his name, who just would not die as a head on the end of this telescoping robot monster? What was his name? Dang. Oh my god. I loved him. I loved the whole thing.
Ryan?
Hodge. That's it, Javon. I knew he'd know.
Javon is a guru.
Javon just sits around all day reading comics and talking smack. That's all he does.
Hey, I don't blame him. Sometimes you gotta do that.
Sometimes.
Go ahead, Ryan, the originator.
His turn.
Oh, okay, Fee.
That's my turn. Okay. I was like, even though I was able to read a couple of the comics, I know with Storm being my OG, I was kind of intrigued with the story of Rogue because I guess when I was younger, I didn't truly understand like the struggles that she had to deal with considering her powers. But I guess I would say her storyline and kind of how they portrayed her both in the animated series and also the movies was kind of interesting to me. So it was always like finding a way to discover herself.
Cannonball's one of my all-time favorites, J-Man, but like, to me, he's X-Force, and so but
hold off on that because that's another question.
Whole nother question.
My favorite run is Gorson's New X-Men. E is for Extinction. When they destroyed Genosha. When they destroyed her. And when Emma Frost came back as the big queen. E is for Extinction. Mutants. New X-Men. Grant. Boom!
Okay. I'm surprised. Did anyone like Age of Apocalypse at all, or no? We
oh man, I loved it. I mean, anything that shows
Age
me
of
like
was fun as hell.
alternate
yeah.
reality versions of what would have been. I absolutely love it. Like What If and Elseworlds and stuff are some of my favorite books. So yeah.
Mhm.
Okay. My top, I'm going to go with, there's a few. Schism, where we really get to see a failed Cyclops. He's at his bottom, you know what I mean? And it kind of shows, it's a time in the comic book where they kind of show like what's really, like, Wolverine came popular, right? Everybody loved Wolverine. They kind of show that story there in the book. Wolverine is Professor Xavier's like success story. He can't do nothing. Like he's on top of his game, whereas Cyclops is not. He feels like a failure. That's where you really start to see like that change in Cyclops. So I enjoy that book. Mutant Genesis, and something that's newer. It's kind of old now, but I like the run that they did where it was X-Men versus Avengers. Just because of some of the fights that we got to see in that
Have that
book.
right over there.
When Gambit and Captain America went at it, and Gambit blew up them scales on Captain America's suit. I love that part in the book. So yeah, I'm gonna go with those. With those, just some mentions. Age of Apocalypse wasn't my favorite, but I love
Ultimate game changer writer. It will always be Chris Claremont. Made X-Men relevant for everyone.
Yeah.
For everyone. Ultimate writer of X-Men by far.
He's the reason that they are what they are now. Period.
Yeah.
Everybody's building off of that.
Me a new appreciation on X-Men will always be Grant Morrison. It will be him. So, yeah.
Okay. Let me ask you this next question. I guess this is a two-parter. Your favorite X-Men team. This is if you're talking about this is the team that I mess with. What team are you going with? And then on second to that, what sub team? So they came out with X4. We've had different types of sub teams with the X-Men. What's your go-to X-Men team? See, I'm gonna hand this to you.
You would do me first.
I would.
I mean,
he did it.
You okay?
I'm okay.
It's hard. I don't know. I guess I have to go to poll on this one. I don't want to just say I just want to pick one randomly. I gotta say I'm kind of neutral on that. I don't know.
Okay.
I don't have a team exactly.
Let me ask you this then. This is a wild one right here. Okay. You might even take some time for y'all to get this.
I already know my team.
What's your favorite team, Ryan? Go ahead and tell us real quick.
We already know the 90s.
You being aggressive tonight. I ain't trying to get hurt.
Period. The 90s was a crazy period. Heroes, villains. But yes, the GOAT is team. It will always be
blue team all day. Yes.
Okay.
I know there's blue team. I know there's team, but the blue team is for
the blue team. The blue team goes hard. Okay, that's for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Fishy.
Indeed. Well, the blue team's iconic, but and they got Forge, which is one of my other favorite mutants.
Forge,
so I dig that team. My favorite. One of my favorite teams that's X-Men related at all, though, is like J-Man was saying, that original X-Force lineup with freaking Cannonball and Boom Boom and Wolfsbane and Richter, and oh my God, I love that team. And it's purely because of when it hit. I was a rebellious teenager wanting to change the world, and here's a bunch of rebellious teenagers out there trying to change the world. And it just hit at the right point for me, and Cannonball will always be one of my favorites.
I wish Generation X popped off, man, because he had that front, you know, and like I like the characters like and all the New Mutants that came out, Pennis and all those people. You know, I think for me, like I wish Generation X popped off because it's a really cool comic, you know, but it just didn't work. Pop off.
Okay. The next question I got. I'm sorry, I'm trying to navigate this mouse between these two screens, and it's giving me a hard time for some reason right now. I don't know what's going on. My next question: you are Professor X,
Indeed.
and you get to pick. And I'm not talking about we're not talking about strongest. I hate when people OP teams. We're not talking about I'm just gonna overpower this team. I'm talking about a well-balanced team.
I'm gonna make all the Omega.
You get to pick a 5-man X-Men team. Who are you going with?
Okay.
5.
I got mine.
Okay, whoever's ready can go ahead and go.
Go ahead and go, Ryan. If you got it, go. I'm trying to
Go
count
ahead,
5.
Ryan. We wait on you.
Why are we waiting on me? All right.
Because you
would
were
be-
like
Said
you
5.
I
You said
5.
5.
Yep.
Nike Colossus, Kitty, Storm, and the OP of OP's Iceman. That's my 5.
That's a good one.
That's solid, bro. That's solid. Let's see. Let me hop in the comments real quick. Javon hit us with Cyclops, Emma Frost, Storm, Colossus, and Iceman. Strong team.
Strong team.
Okay, that's a good one. Yeah, I was thinking about Emma. Yes.
Storm, Beast, Wolverine,
Frost.
Strong team. Strong team.
That's team.
That's right. Strong blue team.
I understand it would depend on the mission, but I'm talking about just overall handling any mission. This is your team. No other X-Men are available. This is who you roll with. Who you go? I feel like Fish is writing stuff down. Fish, are you writing stuff down?
I'm trying to think.
Thinking.
I'm trying to fill in that last slot on my playlist here. Favorite stuff's when the original X-Men team came back to their present time to discover Professor X had a new X-Men team, so they called themselves X Factor. And later on, the Horseman of the Apocalypse storyline, and Angel was transformed into Archangel.
Yes.
Like, I dig Archangel, but I miss regular Angel too. Like,
I do too. I hate
Warren Worthington, Strong Angel.
And I want to comment real quick because of what J-Man just said. This X Factor team right here is one of my favorite. If I'm talking about my second alternative X team, led by my boy Havoc right here, this is it.
Strong guy.
Strong guy. Boom.
Okay, I got my 5. The last one was really killing me.
Yvonne, chill. Okay,
but
just chill.
On Angel,
I gotta have Scott as the leader because you know he's just. There are lots of great leaders out there, but I think in the pinch, Scott's gonna be the best. Gotta have Nightcrawler on there because he's just all around so talented at so many things. Got to have Colossus for a powerhouse. Got to have Kitty Pryde to get into those places that nobody else can get into. But I was stuck on number 5 because, do you want to throw another powerhouse in there? Do you want to throw like an Iceman in there that can, use those kind of powers? Do you want to use a Richter that's going to knock everything down? Magneto's going to rip it all to shit. And or Jean Grey that can use her telepathy and her telekinesis and all that.
Hey,
but she's
a wild card, bro. She's a wild card, though.
Exactly. You don't know what you're gonna get. You just
get with Jean
Grey. Roll a 1 as a 20 with her, and that ain't. I'm not down for that.
Cool. She might be going through some shit.
You nailed it for me when you pulled up that image of the other team. Multiple man. hands down, because suddenly you got a hell of a freaking team on your side to overwhelm enemy forces.
In the Cyclops and multiple man. He has, but with Cyclops and multiple man. Fish, he knows.
That's why my team is superior than your team.
Here's my
afternoon
team.
in the
Here's
park.
my team. I'm going with Cyclops. He is Team Leader. Okay? I'm going with Storm because if Cyclops goes down, I know I have a powerhouse, 2, a great second field leader.
Mm-hmm.
Third, I'm going to go with Beast because not only is he a beast when it comes to fighting, he's also very intelligent and can figure some shit out, right? If I got to go more stealthy approach, I'm going with Kitty Pryde on my team, and then I'm going to round that off with some strength with Colossus. That is my 5 right there.
What was that about? I hate it when teams are overpowered. What was that?
What? That is
I mean,
not
you might as well have
overpowered.
stuck freaking Superman and Goku on there,
That is
and
not overpowered.
One Punch Man, and we're done. We'll throw All Might in there just to round it out, and
I don't feel like that's OP,
All right, I have a
bro. I
question.
didn't say Apocalypse, Magneto. You know what I'm saying? Ryan, I need you to remember that question. I need you to hold that question down in your mind for 1 week.
Oh, okay.
Because it is 7:05 and we've hit that hour mark, and I know we can keep going, but we don't want to hold up people's Fridays. We will do X-Men Part 2. Ryan, you got to remember that question.
Y'all be ready in the comments, all right?
Yeah.
We need to know who your team is, all this stuff. And y'all be ready with the questions because I want to hear what y'all got to say about this because, some of this has been nonsense, because like Nightcrawler is obviously the superior X-Men. But
hey, want to get back to work, homie. Get back to work, Ryan.
I've been working.
You ain't got time to be on this show. You ain't got time to be on this show. Anyway, that is all we got for y'all. It has been a blast. We took that hour up quick. I knew we would. We're going to do a part 2 on the X-Men next week. I have some more questions to ask everybody. You guys continue to keep grinding. Be a 5-star version of yourself. And we are going to end this shindig and catch y'all next Friday talking about X-Men again. Peace out. Be good. And we'll catch y'all next week.